Now we're going to look into further how we can help improve the tactical understanding and ability of the players we're working with. And the concept we're going to look at is relating the tactical system, the tactical roles, strategy and key strengths of players to a particular team or professional role models for the young players. The example we're going to run through is Portugal at Euro 2016 and specifically the final against France. You can see on screen the 11v11 graphic of how Portugal lined up and was set up following Ronaldo's substitution due to injury. You can see Portugal set up in a 4-1-4-1 system. And this graphic and information was taken from the website Zonal Marking. And I'd recommend you visit this website to gain an insight into the tactical side of the game, as the website provides a tactical breakdown of professional games that have taken place. It's important at this stage that we give consideration to some of the key tactical aspects when designing practices and designing small-sided games. So first of all, we've got a system, and we'll show in the next slides how that system can be broken down to 9v9, 7v7 and 5v5. It's also important to consider the strategy. So Portugal very much adopting a defensive block with good pressing and aggressive pressure applied to the ball in key areas. Then looking to counter-attack where possible, or if in good possession, looking to deliver crosses. So we've got the system, the strategy. It's also important to bear in mind the key players. What key strengths and weaknesses can we relate to our young players? Can we set them up with a role model to play centre-back as Pepe does? Play forward position as Nani does? Play midfield as Sanchez does? So looking further into the tactical framework, we can now have a look at how we would break this down into a 9v9 format. So we could have Patricio in goals, Pepe, Font and Guerreiro as defenders in a 3, Carvalho as the deepest centre midfield player, Sanchez, Silva and Mario making up the advanced midfield players, and Nani as the centre forward in a 3-1-3-1 formation, making up the 9 in our small-sided game. It's important to bear in mind that we've kept with the type of formation and how it's set up. So the 11v11 was set up in a 4-1-4-1 formation. We've stuck and broke down the structure that is there into a 3-1-3-1 formation to make the adaptation for the 9v9 format of the game. Then we can break down the format further into a 7v7 structure with Patricio in goals, Pepe and Font as the 2 defenders, Carvalho as the deepest centre midfield player, with Sanchez and Mario acting as the forward wingers and Nani as the centre forward. So we've made adaptations in this structure for the 7v7 format of the game, making the best of the adaptation to stick with those 4 lines of the formation: the defenders as a 2, the deepest midfield player as a 1, the midfield player as 2 wingers, and the centre forward as 1 striker. So we're still maintaining the 4 lines of the formation. We can also look at how we would adapt the formation in a 5v5 format, with Patricio in goals, Pepe as the central defender, Sanchez as one side of the diamond, Mario as the other side of the diamond, with Nani as the top of the diamond. So looking across all of these formats of the game, we've made adaptations based on the 11v11 structure of Portugal in the Euro 2016 final. And depending on the age group you're working with, you can use these adaptations as you best see fit. And the best way to relate them is, how do they play or compete in matches? So for example, if your under 10s are playing in a 5v5 format of the game when they compete or take part in fixtures, then relate this to the 5v5 format we've discussed. Also, the relation of the key roles and strategy to a particular team, a particular set of professional players, also gives young players that ability to connect what they are attempting to do with perhaps what they've seen or know of a professional player's abilities. So it relates their task to what the role model is attempted to complete also. Also provides you with the opportunity to show video footage of particular individual players or of how the team is structured. Then within each of these formations and the relation to role models individually, you can then set conditions, targets and challenges related to the strategy, as we discussed earlier. In this instance, a deep defensive block attempting to counter-attack, with high pressing, with aggressive pressure and crosses into the box when possession is good in the opposition half. A task I'd like you to complete now is firstly to think of a team. It can be a team from the latest major international tournament, it may be your favourite club team, or it may be the first team within the club you're working at currently. What I'd like you to do is design a system related to that chosen team you've identified. So as we did previously with Portugal, can you identify the 11v11 system, strategy, and strengths and weaknesses of key players? Can you then reorganise that into a 9v9, break it down further into a 7v7, and break it down to the last step of 5v5? Something I want to make you aware of at this stage is some clubs or organisations adopt different formats of the game. So these examples have been using odd numbers, 5s, 7s, 9s and 11s. Other organisations or football clubs will adopt the approach of having even numbers, 4v4, 6v6, 8v8. Or some adopt each and every format of the game. So they'll go from 4v4 to 5v5 to 6v6 to 7v7 and so on. So from identifying and structuring the smaller formats of the game, can you also come up with the key strategies and key players within each? Feel free to utilise resources you'd have available using Zonal Marking website, the StatZone app, or team reports or images of a team's formation or starting 11 from online resources. This task should take you approximately 20 minutes.